just feels like that Lamar, the criticism, the drum's only going to beat louder because of what Patrick Mahomes is doing, right? Everyone compares to what Patrick Mahomes is doing, that they tear down, Kevin, that you're saying they tear down other players.
Mm-hmm.
Shannon Sharpe, after Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs just won the Super Bowl, was on Nightcap speaking on Lamar Jackson's success in the regular season, but really the failures are starting to speak more volumes for his career in the postseason. So let's play that clip real quickly.
Second MVP, yep.
But at what point in time do we start holding him accountable and says that's underachieving? You got the best, you had the best defense, you had the best you had the best rushing attack, you had the best set of receivers that you've had since you've been in Baltimore, and you were one vote. I don't know who that was that took that vote away from you, because he was one vote away, Ocho, from being a 2-time unanimous MVP. And he had the AFC Championship game, and he had the guy, because the one thing we know about Patrick Mahomes, he's a big game hunter.
Yeah.
Some people, I'm a shore fisherman. I stand on the bank, throw my rod out there. I catch the little fish. I can't catch no tuna. I can't catch no marlin.
Right.
Patrick Mahomes is a big game hunter. He's going hunting for Cape Buffalo. That's what he's going to do. He ain't going pheasant hunting.
Right.
Right now, a lot of these guys doing pheasant hunting and quail hunting and dove hunting and calling it big game. Nah. Patrick Mahomes got pelts on his walls. And I know Peter don't want to hear me talk about that, but y'all at home, y'all get an understanding of what I'm talking about. Now, at some point in time, Ocho, it ain't enough. It's gonna be. He's gonna have to catch the MVP and turn him into Super Bowls.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you keep. Well, he only 26. Mahomes is only 20. How old is Patrick Mahomes? 27?
29. 29, right?
He's 28.
Man, that's it.
28.
Imagine what if he played all the way to 45 like Brady?
Nah, he.
Okay, so I understand. I agree with the fact of there was a lot of hunting terminologies there, which
that was the dumbest analogies I think I've heard in a while.
Well, so like
pheasant hunting,
and you know what? Haven't done that either. I'm not I don't really hunt. That's not my thing. That's not my bag.
Well, he started with fishing and then he went over to hunting.
Yeah.
He did. It was, and that's where I kind of got lost. But before that, he made a good point about being a big game player. No doubt about it, Patrick Mahomes is a big game player. But again, this narrative of quarterbacks being compared, and I get it, Lamar Jackson, people are going to look at his postseason record. But when you look at every other quarterback, the only one that's had success outside of Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady now being gone has been Joe Burrow. Yeah. Like if you're going to look at it that way. So that's my argument, Zach, to go with this. I think that it's unfair, especially seeing how young Lamar is. Yes. Could he play better? Absolutely. But there are other factors. And also Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback right now in this generation. Yeah. And that's deservedly so.
Yeah. I mean, we're having a conversation. Well, at least Shannon and Ocho are about if Lamar, should he be up with these other players and the players that they are trying to put Lamar in this thing of. And, Josh Allen has 0 MVPs and 0 Super Bowls. Joe Burrow has 0 MVPs and 0 Super Bowls. And yet with them, it's not an issue. Oh, no, they're going to get there. Oh, no, they'll get it eventually. They're still the top echelon. Lamar Jackson has 2 MVPs, 99 out of 100 first-place votes. But it's not enough. People are more upset that he wins MVPs and fails in the postseason than they are at these guys that don't win MVPs and fails. And for some reason, it's those guys are seen as better and that they've done more than Lamar, even though they have nothing to show for it, no awards or anything.
Aaron Rodgers has 4 MVPs. Is that right?
Yeah.
1 Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody bats an eye.
Nope.
Well, and they aren't right now. They're saying about how the greatness of them, but when they were losing games, people were getting on them. But like Aaron Rodgers is still a great quarterback, right? Like and I think that's where the part that people get by. And here's just a little stat. We mentioned it last time on the show on Thursday. The last 10 years of Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, we want to go through that list. We got Patrick Mahomes, obviously. You got Nick Foles, who, hell of a run by the Eagles. Tom Brady. Peyton Manning, led by that Denver defense, and then Matt Stafford. That's the list right now of quarterbacks that have won in the last 10 seasons.
Mhm.
Like, that's just the reality of it. And that was
Yeah.
the end of the dynasty of the Patriots. But in that list, you guys are right. It's Lamar Jackson of the quarterbacks outside of Patrick Mahomes. And I'll give it to Joe Burrow. We don't have to like the Bengals. You got to respect the guy is calm, cool, and collected in the postseason. But Lamar Jackson, accolades-wise, no one since Mahomes came into the league has done what he's done so far.
It's crazy that Lamar has to get 2 MVPs to get put into a conversation with 2 players that have 0 MVPs and no Super Bowls. And I would understand if Burrow had won the Super Bowl. I'd understand if Allen had won a Super Bowl where it's, MVPs for Super Bowl, because I agree. Super Bowl is way more valuable to an MVP, and I bet you Lamar feels the exact same way. But it's just crazy that Lamar Jackson, after he wins his second MVP, the headlines are, is it time that we should finally start putting Lamar Jackson in the category with Mahomes, Allen, and Burrow? And it's like, I think you should be seeing if other players are on the same level as Lamar, because he's got 2 first-team All-Pros and 2 MVPs. So, yeah, in the postseason, it's not been there. And he's going to be the first to say it, and he has come up short. But it's ridiculous that, this media has made it, oh, now that he has 2 MVPs, we can mention him with these guys. And it's like he should have the whole time.
And it goes with there was a clip from Joy Taylor about, it was essentially, she was complimenting Lamar. She was doing a bunch and she was saying Lamar's year was incredible. He has 2 MVPs and saying he solidified for the Hall of Fame with the 2 MVPs. But in this, she said, now we mentioned Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, and Josh Allen. We have to mention Lamar Jackson. And admittedly, I haven't watched the clip in full, so I don't want to, put words or tone in Joy's mouth or anything. But again, I agree with Zach where Joe Burrow and Josh Allen, Joe's been in the Super Bowl, obviously didn't win it, but Josh Allen has not been there. He has not won an MVP. If you talk about playoff record and playoff stats, I mean, sure, we can admit that Lamar hasn't lived up to those moments. And I think that's okay to admit, obviously.
Some of that's coaching. We didn't see any rushing in the AFC Championship game.
Exactly.
But that's okay also, by the way, to go like, you know what, he didn't play well. Okay, and that's fine. It's the same thing. Even when people talk about Josh Allen, him not winning MVPs for me. So Josh Allen's still one of the best quarterbacks. And that's cool. I think that's the part. Just the conversation just needs to be, hey, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, what they're doing is ridiculous. And whether or not that's because the other guys need to elevate their game or whatever it may be, no other team is really breaking through the Chiefs minus Joe Burrow once and Tom Brady. Other than that, the list is Patrick Mahomes. That's it in the AFC. So great quarterbacks, great talented players. And I think that needs to be more of the discussion. But as Lamar gets to his 30s and he hasn't been to a Super Bowl and there is more struggles, then you can have more of a conversation, especially if other players and teams get to that place where they're trying to go. But until then, I don't think it's fair to say that. Until Buffalo goes, until the Chargers go, until another team goes, we got to sit back and relax and just enjoy, man. These quarterbacks are good.
I'd be very curious if Peyton Manning, because obviously that's been the comparison people have made. I'd be very curious if Peyton Manning, his career was brought up to now in the social media age and just kind of what the discourse would be around Peyton. And he got flack back then too. Like, I'm not saying he didn't, but I'm just very curious of what it would have been, because I think with everything that's going on with Lamar and the lack of playoff success, this is not the first time we've seen a great quarterback not win a Super Bowl and, have 3 rings by the time he's 28, right? Obviously with Brady and Mahomes, we've been very spoiled. And of course, Patriots fans and Chiefs fan has, but I think because we've seen it essentially back to back, it's all of a sudden, oh, well, that now has to be the norm for everybody, or else you're not good and you can't win in the playoffs. And I think that's not fair when you have 2 greats like that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Lamar. Look, we have to admit Mahomes is the best in the league, right? 100%.
There's no question.
But to all of a sudden discount everything Lamar's done just because Mahomes has been that good in his career just doesn't sit right with me.
Yep. There's a lot of really good players. Mahomes has the best start to his career than any quarterback has in the history of the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, even great players are going to look like they have more flaws than they do when you compare them to one of the greatest players to ever do it. Yeah. I mean, you look at a guy like Mahomes, like we're saying, he just goes out there, and we haven't, besides Brady, really seen something like this. So, we talk about it all the time with the guys like Baker Mayfield and stuff. It has had a lasting effect. If guys aren't winning Super Bowls in their first 5 years, it's like, okay, can we even have this guy? And then, like we said, what you just pointed out, there are like 5 guys in the league who have started and won a Super Bowl.
Right.
And we act like you need to every year.
And that goes back to even Brad, what you were talking about last show with how you build a roster around a quarterback. You know, that's kind of what everybody feels they have to do now is get a star quarterback on a rookie deal, pick him in the first round, have that 5th-year option. There's your initial window.
Yep.
There's your 5 years. Build the best team you can around them, and that's how you do it. We've seen a lot of teams do it nowadays, and I think that's kind of the model everyone's looking for. And if you don't do that, it leaves a huge blemish on that quarterback career, which I don't think is fair to them because look, sometimes it just doesn't work out that way.
Yeah,
and
it's essentially what it is. Again, if we were to look at it, actually, other teams, if you're not Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes right now, everyone looks down upon you. And Lamar Jackson's in that conversation where they're like, well, Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes could go down as the 2 best quarterbacks that ever play the position, but there are some damn good ones, and we still have a good belief that Lamar Jackson is going to be there. And for a few things, Steven, you're right. Hopefully 2024 is the year for Lamar Jackson, the Baltimore Ravens. We are hoping that's the case.